Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This video is going to be all about one pan meal ideas. These are super beginner friendly and easy recipes. I love one pan meals because you can just pop them in the oven and then do something else, and then before you know it, you have a whole meal. So I am so excited to share these with you guys. Let's just get into it. So first we're doing honey mustard marinated chicken with carrots, broccoli, and potatoes. We're going to start by making the marinade to the chicken. So we're going to start with salt, pepper, minced garlic, honey Dijon mustard, apple cider vinegar, olive oil, and honey. So we're going to start by doing 3 tablespoons of honey. Then we're going to go in with the honey Dijon mustard, 3 tablespoons of the Dijon mustard. We're going to mix it up. Then we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of our olive oil. Then we're going to go in with 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, a little minced garlic, although you can use fresh garlic if you have it, salt and pepper, and then mix it all up. Once you've mixed up your marinade, go ahead and season your chicken on the top and on the bottom. Go ahead and add in your salt, your pepper, and I like to add in Cajun seasoning as well. After you're done seasoning the chicken, go ahead and get a container and put all your chicken in the container. Now what I did was I left the marinade on and put it in the refrigerator for about an hour, but obviously the longer you leave the marinade on, the better the chicken tastes. So it's really up to you. So you could leave it on as a marinade, or you can just drizzle it on and pop it in the oven if you want to that way, whatever you have time for. So for me, I only had an hour to spare, so I just put it in the refrigerator and left it in there and let it like chill and marinate for about an hour. So while the chicken is marinating, I am going to go ahead and start on my produce. So after washing all of my produce, I'm going to go ahead and peel my potatoes. And I peeled about 4 potatoes for our family. That was more than enough, but you can definitely do more or less depending on your family size. These here are yellow potatoes. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and peel them, and then I am cutting them into smaller pieces. So after cutting up my potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and start with my broccoli. So after washing my broccoli, I just went ahead and cut off the stem and pulled apart the broccoli, and I'm going to cut it into bite-sized pieces. Now the thing about broccoli when you put it in the oven is it shrivels up. So that's just a tip. So if you're looking at it and you're like, oh, it looks like a lot of broccoli, no, it shrivels up and you feel like you don't have enough once it's done. So I put in a little bit more broccoli just so that we could have enough, and then I'm going to go ahead and peel my carrots and cut them up into small size pieces as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and add everything to the sheet pan. So I used parchment paper, but I would much rather use aluminum foil. I just ran out, so that's why I had to use it. But either works. So I added my chicken, and then I went ahead and put all of my olive oil on my carrots, broccoli, and potatoes, and then I seasoned them with salt, pepper, and then the Cajun seasoning as well. And then what I did was make sure I like massaged through like all the olive oil, because like the olive oil is what makes everything crispy. So I definitely wanted to make sure everything was coated, and then I went ahead and put on the last bit of marinade and I stuck it in the oven. So this is the food after everything is done. So for Carter's, what I did was just cut up his chicken into smaller bite-sized pieces so it'll be easier for him to eat and grab a hold of. But yes, this is the finished result. Everybody loved it. Now we're going to start on the apricot preserved salmon, tomatoes, potatoes, and squash. So this recipe will need light brown sugar, lemon juice or fresh lemon if you have it, and butter. So we're going to do 3 tablespoons of butter. We're going to heat that in the microwave. Once that's heated, go ahead and add 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Mix that up and then go ahead and add your lemon juice. Then mix it up. Now after you've made the marinade, you can go ahead and grab your pan and then add your salmon to your pan. Now I already had my salmon marinating in this exact same marinade that I made up. I just forgot to show you guys. That's why I had to remake it. And then I just drizzled the rest of what I showed you guys on the salmon. So while the oven is still preheating, I am going ahead and cutting up 1 whole squash. If you guys have a bigger family, definitely cut up more. And I also added some mini golden potatoes as well. I waited to cut these up until they were done. And then I also added some fresh cherry tomatoes. Now I'm adding my potatoes, squash, and tomatoes to my pan that my salmon is on. Now I'm going in and drizzling olive oil over my potatoes and the rest of my veggies, and I'm making sure that they are completely coated on both sides just so that they can be thoroughly coated all the way through. So I'm going in and seasoning everything, the salmon, the potatoes, squash, and tomatoes. So I'm putting salt on it and pepper, and then I'm also adding garlic powder as well. And I'm making sure I flip over the salmon to make sure the back of it is seasoned thoroughly as well. Now that everything's seasoned, it is jelly time. This is my favorite part. I love this apricot preserved jelly. It is the best on salmon to me. I am like obsessed with the sweet and savory taste, and that is exactly what this gives it. So I'm going to go ahead and coat the top of all 4 pieces of my salmon. So I do use a very generous amount of the jelly because a lot of it ends up sliding off in the oven and it kind of becomes like a glaze like sauce. So I like to use like quite a bit of it. Now that everything is seasoned and nice and coated, I am putting it in the oven. So this is everything after it's been fully cooked. I cut up the potatoes and put some sour cream, chives, and cheese on there. So everything was super good. The only thing I did with Carter's was I added fresh tomatoes instead of the cooked ones because I was afraid he may choke on the skin. And then I cut up his salmon, and there you are. So next we are doing mini pizzas. So what you'll need is some sort of pizza dough. I used pita bread and mozzarella cheese, pepperonis if you like pepperonis, Prego traditional sauce, and pesto. Now I'm going to go in and spray my pan with some olive oil and put my pita bread down. I cut Carter's in half because there's no way he's going to eat a whole pizza. So now I'm going to go ahead and spread on my pesto onto each piece of pizza. So the thing about pizzas that I love is that they are the one thing that you can make for dinner where everybody's happy. Everybody can put on their own toppings. And if you have older children or older toddlers, they can help you put on the toppings that they want. It can be fun. It takes such little time to do. So you don't even have to worry about ordering pizzas. You could just make it a fun Pizza Friday, and everybody can kind of get in the kitchen and help with making their own pizza. I think it's a super fun way to like get kids involved. Mine isn't quite old enough, but once he is old enough, I will be doing this. Now I'm going to go ahead and spread on my sauce onto each piece. Now after everything is all sauced up, I'm going to go ahead and add my mozzarella cheese to all of the pizzas. Now if I had some Parmesan cheese, I would have added that as well, but I didn't have it, so I'm just working with what I got. Now I am going in and putting on all of my toppings. So I'm starting with pepperoni. Everybody likes pepperoni in our household. For Carter's, I just broke them up into smaller pieces just so he wouldn't choke or anything like that. And then I also chopped up some baby spinach as well for his. I chopped Carter's up pretty finely because I don't want him to notice. And parents, you already know, sneaking in vegetables, I mean, you just try to in every which way you can. And then for me, I did onions and green peppers and spinach. And then for Derek's, I just put some spinach on his. And now I'm just popping it in the oven. So this is what it looks like after I put it on our plates and sliced them up. So for Carter's, I just added a few slices of apples as well. And yeah. Now the last pan we're going to do is ranch pork chops, zucchini, and potato wedges. So I got this recipe from the back of a ranch packet. So we're going to use ranch seasoning, paprika, salt, olive oil, creole seasoning, non-stick pan spray, black pepper, and our 1/2 inch boneless pork chops. So I'm using 1 whole packet of ranch seasoning, and then I'm going to go in with some paprika. Now the recipe didn't say how much paprika to put in there, so I guess it's just up to your own discretion. And then I'm just going to mix. After laying out all of my pork chops, I'm going to go ahead and season them. I'm seasoning them with salt and pepper, and I'm going to make sure I season them on the top as well as on the bottom. I want to make sure all of my seasonings are evenly distributed on both sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and drizzle on my olive oil and make sure I coat my pork chops with the olive oil. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and toss each pork chop into the ranch seasoning mixture. After I'm done with the meat, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my potatoes into a wedge shape. Now, I did about 3 potatoes for our family, and these are russet potatoes. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut up my zucchini. And now it's time to transfer everything onto the pan. Now I'm going to go ahead and drizzle on my olive oil onto the zucchini and the fries. Mix it all in, and then I'm going to go ahead and season them with some salt and some pepper, and then I'm going to go in with my Cajun seasoning as well. Now that everything's all seasoned, I'm going to go ahead and pop it in the oven. And this is the finished result. So for Carter, I cut up half of a pork chop for him. If you guys have younger toddlers and you're a little bit afraid about them eating pork, you can definitely switch it out for chicken and do this exact same recipe. Thanks for watching. Until next time, guys, I'll leave all of the recipes in the description box. Bye.